we realize there's so much we have to do in the country in every level of society, in every sector of society. And I think a lot of what we'll talk about today is what are we trying to do and how to achieve that. And what I would like to talk about is an initiative that the Foreign Bank Association undertook in cooperation with every sector of the financial industry and the government just 3 weeks ago in order to improve Ukraine's chances to fund and attract interest in foreign investment in this country, which we know is the key driver for the economy. So what I would like to do today is first, it seems that the theme is movies, and I have a 47-second movie for you. I'd like to tell you about what we did, why we did it, how we did it, and the results that we achieved from this initiative. So without further ado, assuming the technical aspects work, can we roll the 47-second movie, please? What you just saw was representatives from 19 countries, 5 ministers. We had 8 deputy ministers. I hope all of those ministers come back or continue to work in the reform government. Representatives from local banks, representatives from local industry and state enterprises, all gathered on January 28th at the Intercon Hotel to talk about investment projects in the country. The purpose of the conference was to bring representatives from every export credit agency in the world, the major export credit agencies, and the international financial institutions. Now, in case you don't know what an export credit agency or an international financial institution is, I will tell you, an export credit agency is usually a government bank or organization from an OECD country whose role is to provide finance for the emerging markets to purchase equipment for capital investment. And Ukraine has billions and billions of dollars of needs for capital investment. These export credit agencies are very valuable because they take and enhance a low credit rating into their own investment grade rating, and by doing so, they provide attractive long-term finance to Ukrainian purchasers of capital equipment. Ukraine right now is a split rating. It's B-, CCC, and frankly, with that kind of rating, you're not able to obtain any kind of long-term foreign currency financing in the bond market from international banks at any reasonable rate or any reasonable tenor. It is just not possible. The only way to do that is with the support of export credit agencies and international financial institutions who are the names you know, EBRD, IFC, the World Bank, and European Investment Bank. We brought all of them in one room to hear the ministers talk about the reforms in the country, where the investments in what sectors will happen, and ask for their support to present a unified message to the foreign international investment community that Ukraine has opportunities, Ukraine needs this support, these are well thought out commercial projects, and to bring everyone together in one room to discuss this. This was never done before in Ukraine, to have such an international conference. And it was very timely because this is what we need this year. Now what I'm going to do is, here you can see, it's a bit hard to perhaps read all the details, but I will just talk about how we organized this conference and who participated and why we did it this way. And then what I will share with you is what results did we get out of this unprecedented one-day meeting. So we started off with 5 ministers talking about reforms and about what investments were needed in their sector. We had Ivaris from Ministry of Economic Development and Trade. Then we had Natalie Jaresko, who was talking about the success the country had on sovereign restructuring, the approval of the budget, and future plans for financial discipline in the country. Then we had Minister Pavlenko to talk about the great needs the agricultural sector has to develop and to expand efficiency in production. Then we went over to Minister Dymchyshyn, coal and energy. And finally, Pivovarsky on infrastructure. 5 ministers the whole morning talking about not just reform, but what concrete investments do they see in their sectors for this year, and where are the opportunities for international banks, export credit agencies, multilateral financial institutions to participate to support this. This all requires foreign currency long-term financing, which basically is not happening right now. This is the catalyst to improve the economy. If you don't have catalyst, if you do not show successful examples of foreign investors and governments supporting key investments, you're not going to be able to attract even more investment and more banking resources from in the country. After that, we had talk from Dmitry Sologub about the economy over lunch, so everyone got an update on the state of the Ukrainian economy and their forecast for this year. And then we went panel through panel where the export credit agencies and the IFIs talked about their own programs, what they've done in Ukraine, and what they would like to do in Ukraine, and what they need to see in Ukraine. So the second half of the conference was basically the international participants talking about what they would like to do, and how they would do it, and what they're looking for. And we finished the meeting with private sector and state enterprises, which is also very important because this is not just government to government, this is business to government. And we had some very good feedback from the private sector in a variety of industries as well. So in one day, we did all of this, and what did we get? Basically, these export credit agencies and IFIs, their programs, the appetites that they have, the unused capacity that they currently have for Ukraine exceeded $2 billion. Now you might be surprised that there's even any number that could be postulated for supporting Ukraine this year. But when you put all of these participants together, they reflected a potential appetite for supporting more than $2 billion of new projects. And this is not based on state guarantees. State guarantees is not on the table. This is based on viable projects in attractive industries with viable obligors. That was a very, very good result, not just to hear about the $2 billion, but for everyone in the room to share that information. So what did we leave this conference with? We left this conference with an international awareness, a revised and updated awareness of what Ukraine is doing, where Ukraine needs to invest. All the ministers were committed. They were in the conference room all day. They didn't leave. So there was clearly a very strong sign of commitment from the Ukrainian government to all the foreign guests who came. So we need to follow up on this because these investment projects remain. They haven't been funded yet. We have to find exactly how to structure these transactions, and we need to make them happen because 1 or 2 successful examples provide the vision and the catalyst to do the next 5 and the next 10. And if we achieve this, we can restart lending in the country. But we have to start somewhere, and we have to start here because these export credit agencies, their role in life is to take low-rated emerging market risk and transform it into investment grade. That's where Ukraine is right now. This is the catalyst that would work and that is relevant for us now, and that's why we focused on this during the one day on January 28th in Kyiv. So I want you all to know that, and all the banks here hopefully will be part of this because export credit agencies don't do this only by themselves. They work with commercial banks, they work with state enterprises. This is not just those foreign participants. This is, you can call it a team effort, but the way it works is that everyone has to work in an integrated solution. So that's how I wanted to start off the conference today, which is to show you that there's a need, there's a way to galvanize the international community, there's a way to structure it in a way that works for the need right now, the situation we have right now, and that we all have to be part of this to provide that catalyst to restart lending and get the economy moving. So I'll leave you all with that and turn it back to Morten. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer that, but that's about what I wanted to say for this morning. Okay? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Stephen.